Boom! Spontaneity. Today, I want to try a new type of series for the podcast, and that is, I'll be looking at a story prompt and then proceed to tell it with no prior writing. Well, other than a few seconds or minutes of thinking so then I can come up with a plot and characters in mind. Also, for anyone wondering, doing this can also assist you in your own writing. It helps you think of actions that can be taken within a story on the spot, and with that improved mental strength, you'll be able to find less strain in figuring out what to do with your own stories. It can also help in terms of creativity. So why are we waiting? I've got Reedsy Prompts pulled up here. I'll link the site in the description. It's very helpful. The site even holds weekly writing contests. Hey, Space. Alright, so it's currently showing me 1,369 nice prompts. Let's go for fantasy, because it also has a choice between genres. Let's see, what do you want? I'm talking to my dog. Set your story in a world where the currency isn't money, or at least not money as we understand it. I already have that set up in my own novel, so I can't do that. Set your story in an oracle or a fortune teller's parlor. Ooh. Write about a character who wakes up in their past life or is a future reincarnation of themselves. Set your story in a nameless world. Your character makes a living faking psychic powers. One morning they wake up with real ones. Write about a character whose dreams are portals to other worlds. Write a story that involves a magic window, or a window like no other. Write a fairy tale about an outsider trying to fit in. Write about a prince or princess who is asked to give up something valuable as part of a deal to escape the world they come from. Write about a mischievous pixie or trickster god. Ooh, I'm going to go for write about a mischievous pixie or trickster god. Alright, so I'll be playing some music for a few seconds while I take a moment to think. Alright, I'm ready. But just a quick word of warning. Since this won't be written in a script, I'll be stuttering a lot, so just be patient with me. The night was cold. The wind blew through the breezes, like releasing a whistle within the leaves. A faint glimmer protruded from the darkness, shining brightly like a star in the night. Except this star moved far more frequently than the rest, and it also stands out by the fact that it is not present in the sky. No, this star is present among the trees, among the leaves, among the birds and the bees. This star is present among the wildlife and the humans, though it's not the most loved among the humans. This star in particular tends to play tricks. This star loves to send fearful notes down the spines of the humans alike. From scaring old ladies to the point where they scream bloody murder, to having kids believe that there are monsters under their bed. This pixie is a trickster, and a mischievous one at that. So mischievous that one morning the pixie woke up from its slumber, sprawled out among a large oak leaf. It blew in the breeze, but stayed still due to the pixie's magic. The pixie heard children playing down below. Their laughter and cries present among among the air. Their laughter and cries present amongst the air. The pixie grew a mischievous smile that day. The day that the children ran away crying and screaming, shouting to their parents that the goblins are chasing them. But it was no goblin. It was the pixie, dressing up the trees and bushes to look like little green creatures. And due to the wind assisting the pixie, the green creatures would shift and move brightly, dangerously even, sending fear straight into the children. They cried and cried and cried. The pixie laughed amongst them. The, the little squeaks and hollers of the fairy, almost like a twinkle in the night. But then the townspeople decided to go searching for these goblins, not sure of what to look for. It's primarily just parents wanting to provide their children some sort of support. The pixie notices parents wandering through the woods, their flashlights brimming brightly through the trees and their branches, searching for anything that could explain what these children have seen. But nothing came into sight. Just occasional birds, owls, bugs, maybe even a rabbit or two. And so, the pixie has decided to remain silent that night, and the parents returned home, explained to their children to stop playing in the forest, and to no longer, and then they will remain safe. Fast forward a week. The children have avoided the forest, but there are two little curious children. But there are two espresso. Sorry, yelling at my dog. She's growling. But there were two little children, curious at that. Espresso. But there were two little curious children that were always playing near the brim entrance of the trees, watching in awe as the birds would fly from branch to branch, almost fearful by the darkness within the forest. Then the pixie decided to strike. It glimmered brightly within the trees, shining and glistening, catching their eyes. The children couldn't help but follow their curiosity into the forest, where they'd follow the little glimmering lights through the trees, trying to keep track of it from all the darkness. But it wasn't difficult. The pixie tried hard to make sure that its brightness would shine out among any sort of shade. And once the children were far enough into the trees to the point where they could no longer see their home, even if they were to backtrack for a minute, that's when the pixie struck. It showed bright dragons. The pixie had the branches shake and hit one another, making it seem as though a tornado were coming, or even worse, a giant dragon. Then it would let out roars, which were really just the moose off into the distance, searching for a mate. But the children didn't know that. They were young. The chances they knew of what a moose was were slim to none. The pixie continued to fear these children, using various sounds and movements in the dark. They screamed and screamed, not seeing or hearing any of the truth around them. The pixie glimmered off into the distance, leading them further into the forest. But due to all the screaming, the parents nearby have caught wind of what has happened and have decided to start searching through the forest for their children. They track through all of the branches, avoiding any stumps and potholes. And that's when they finally caught up to their screaming children. They were holding each other below a giant oak tree, with a bright glimmer right on top. It shined pinkly. The, the parents were even enthralled by it for a few moments, but the sight of their children left them distracted by the pixie. They ran up happily to their children, and they started immediately lecturing them. But the children explained what happened, and that there was a bright light that led them into the darkness. There were dragons and monsters within the forest. But the parents didn't believe them, so they tracked back out. But before they could leave, the pixie wanted to do one final gutsy attack on an adult. The pixie shimmered brightly right in front of the father's face. It blinded him for a moment. He let out a holler, shocked at that. The mother was confused, for she did not see anything. She was carrying her child and trying to properly carry him on her shoulders. So when she asked the father, "What happened?" the father only replied with, "I just got blinded by a random light," forgetting about the bright pink light that was present atop the giant oak tree just a few moments prior. Then the mother chimed in. "Quit playing around. I don't need you messing with these children's imaginations." And that's when the pixie struck on the mother, fluttering just in front of her face. For a few moments, of course. Long enough for her eyes to register, but not long enough for her to remember properly. Nor every detail. That's the mother carried the child and bolted. The parents ran through the trees, keeping a close eye on their children and their surroundings, ensuring that they don't get lost or even worse, attacked and blinded. The pixie continued to laugh within the trees of that forest, waiting for the next batch of children and parents to arrive, repeating the cycle over and over and over again. And that is everything. Sorry for all the stutters and pauses, but I hope you all enjoyed the story. Follow at CWC Publishing on Twitter. Check out my novels Death Chill, Flame Rip, and Arctic Blaze on Amazon and Kobo. Link in description. Check out the Creative Writing Club Discord server in the description. Check out the Creative Writing Club Instagram at creativewriting_club. Check out my personal Instagram at dark_night_wolves. Let's bring this spontaneous meeting to an end.